The Haunting of Hampton Court, The Ghost of King Henry VIII by midnight. Quill, they say the past never truly dies. It lingers in the creaking timbers of old palaces and the chilling whispers that echo down forgotten halls. At Hampton Court, where time wears velvet robes and ancient secrets seep through cold stone, the shadow of King Henry VIII still reigns. His ghost, cloaked in regret and fury, roams the corridors beneath the weight of betrayal, ambition, and lost love. It was in the autumn of 2023 when Dr. Eleanor Vane, a historian of Tudor England, was granted private access to the palace for her new research project, a comprehensive study of royal hauntings. A skeptical scholar by nature, Eleanor had never believed in ghosts. But she was meticulous, and her devotion to historical truth led her to pursue every thread, even the ones woven with superstition. Eleanor arrived on a rain-lashed evening. The taxi left her at the iron gates, and she wheeled her suitcase up the gravel path. The palace loomed against a sky as black as morning silk. Floodlights lit the red brick facade, casting long shadows over the intricately carved archways. Her key card granted her access through the staff entrance, and a single steward, Thomas, a silent man with hollow eyes, greeted her with a slight nod before disappearing into the dark. Her accommodations were in the clock court, in what had once been a servant's chamber. The room smelled faintly of old wax and roses. As she unpacked, a strange silence filled the space, thicker than the storm outside. She noticed that her room's single window overlooked the haunted gallery, an infamous corridor where Queen Catherine Howard, Henry's fifth wife, had once run screaming for mercy before being dragged back to her doom. Eleanor began her work the next morning. She recorded oral testimonies from caretakers and night guards, many of whom spoke in hushed tones about unexplained footsteps, cold spots, and the sound of heavy breathing when no one was near. Most chilling were the sightings of a towering figure in Tudor garb, with a beard like wildfire and eyes like smoldering coal. "Henry walks again," whispered one cleaner, an elderly woman named Agnes, especially on the anniversary of Catherine's arrest. That night, Eleanor sat alone in the chapel royal, poring over parchments. The air was bitterly cold despite the heaters. At exactly 3 a.m., the candles flickered violently, though there was no draft. The stained glass began to vibrate with an eerie hum, like a deep bass note played by invisible hands. Then, unmistakably, the great oak doors creaked open. Eleanor turned and froze. A man stood there, immense and regal, clothed in rich crimson and sable. Jewels glinted on his fingers, his eyes locked with hers, full of wrath, grief, and a curious plea. His lips moved, though no sound emerged. He lifted one arm as though to command her forward. Then he was gone. The scent of roses and brimstone lingered in the chapel. Eleanor fled to her room, heart pounding. She tried to rationalize it, sleep deprivation, stress, but the experience gnawed at her mind like a worm in an apple. She reviewed the security footage. The camera aimed at the chapel door had gone black at precisely 3 a.m. and returned to normal at 3:07. Over the next week, the sightings escalated. She found pages torn from her notes, replaced with cryptic Tudor script in a spidery hand. The same phrase appeared again and again. Let her soul be freed. Digging deeper into palace archives, Eleanor discovered an obscure diary kept by a confessor to Queen Catherine. In it, he described secret meetings between Catherine and a court musician, love letters passed, promises made. One passage caught her attention. On the eve of her arrest, I heard the king weep. She was my light, and I have snuffed it out, he said. God shall punish me not in life, but in eternity. Haunted by guilt, Henry had ordered Catherine's name struck from all records, but he had also preserved her final letter in a hidden reliquary, buried beneath the chapel floor. Driven by compulsion more than logic, Eleanor contacted the Royal Commission and received reluctant permission to excavate the floorboards. Beneath the aged wood, behind a loose stone, they found it, a bone scroll case wrapped in crimson silk. Inside was a single letter, Catherine's last words to the king. I die with sorrow for deceiving thee, but with hope in thy mercy. If thy heart still holds a shred of the love thou did once profess, let not my name be buried in shame. Forgive me, Henry, and may God forgive us both. The moment Eleanor read the letter aloud in the chapel, the air thickened like thunder before a storm. A wind swept through the nave, extinguishing all the candles. The floor beneath her seemed to pulse like a heartbeat, and then, in the center of the room, Henry appeared again, his face contorted in sorrow. He bowed his head, knelt, and wept. As Eleanor watched, the figure faded like smoke in the sunlight. She felt a pressure lift from the room, as though the palace itself had exhaled. From that night forward, no further sightings of the king were reported. But Eleanor never forgot his eyes. Not cruel, as history painted them, not tyrannical, just tired, regretful, human. Her book, The Tudor Wraith, became a bestseller. Yet she included only one chapter on the ghost. She claimed no proof, offered no speculation, only the story as it had unfolded. Let the past rest, she wrote. Some kings rule even in death, but some finally find their peace.